If something is easier to do, you can do a lot more of it and then deliver more value and build things in a way that you never would have if AI wasn't accessible.
Creating a tool and maintaining that was a difficult thing to do. We only had a little bit of them. What I do now is I go to Replit. I would fire up Replit, create 5 different small projects. Whenever I have a challenge, I just write down that I need somebody to help me with this. And it looks through my sheet and gives me the name of 2 people. It's been honestly a game changer for me. Anybody that can master that part of it, I think is going to come out ahead.
Sukh, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, super excited to do this. You and I actually met at an AI event, and it's crazy. Like you had a demo, I had a demo. There's like hundreds of people in the audience. There's just like so much, I guess, desire to learn about AI these days. Are you noticing that in your networks too?
Absolutely. I think like when I came back from the event, it was funny. It wasn't recorded, or like parts of it was recorded. I had so many people reaching out to me being like, hey, the talk that you did was so actionable because I was showing them how to do XYZ. Do you have like a video recording of it? In fact, one person was like, we were driving back from the talk and they had a chat with their friend about the talk for like 4 hours. So a lot of people are hearing about AI. It's just they're trying to figure out how to take the stuff that's like the flashy stuff that's always you see on like Twitter demos and applying it to their personal life. I think that's the little disconnect that they have, and more of like the content that's around it. People are hungry for that.
Yeah. I'm super excited to have this talk specifically because obviously today, I mean, I know what you're going to show us today, and it's a lot about, products that you've built, like you're a builder. But what I wanted to emphasize, and this is really cool, is, and I have a ton of questions for you about this, is just, you're a software developer, right? By background, by training. So you used to, basically build products the old way, right? And so now you're doing things in a new way, and we're gonna talk about that. And so this is super exciting because I think a lot of the listeners, work at companies, they're CEOs, they're head of engineerings, and they want to get more of their teams to use AI tools in order to speed up development process and speed up the way that they build product, and they run into a whole bunch of issues. So there's a bunch of questions I want to ask you there, but let's start from the top. And why don't you just walk us through who you are, what's your background, and what does your company do today?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I'm Sukh. I grew up in India, but I migrated to Toronto about 6, 7 years ago. But I've been a builder my whole life. I like to say that I'm like a terrible employee because when I was working, I would always had some sort of like side product that I would build. So yeah, so for the last 8 years, I built out I think 28, 30 different products. Because I'm a software engineer, number one thing that you do is you see a problem. Oh, I can code that. So I've been doing that on the side. But my career started off with working at IBM and then Apple and then Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks Fifth Avenue, I was speeding up the Saks.com domain. So like the faster you make the domain, the more money that you make. So yeah, so I was doing that. And then at some point I was like, I need to go full on into building a product on my own versus doing this half product, half working, and it wasn't going anywhere. And I think like with the AI wave coming in, the best way to learn is to just jump in. So that's what I did. Right at the end of COVID, I started a company called Engyne. So I'm the CEO of Engyne. And what Engyne's mission is that developers can build products over a weekend that can touch 1 million people. But the reason why you can't make $1 million is because the go-to-market, the marketing is the bottleneck there. So I'm super excited to find a solution in a way where we can automate marketing. And so the product that we have today is it basically helps you. It's an interview tool and it helps you create content for LinkedIn. So you and I right now are doing like a back and forth chat, but with Engyne, it just asks you questions. You record a short form video that you can put on LinkedIn, and that way you can grow your personal brand and have a bigger network of people to sell to.
Yeah, this is super exciting, and so we'll get to see a preview of this afterwards as well. I think basically everybody listening to the show is on LinkedIn, so this is going to be super useful for everybody. But let's start talking about, you know, building this company. How would you say that, at this company, from what you're seeing, how has AI changed the way that you are building this company?
I've actually been building products, like I mentioned, for the last couple of years. And I really do think that since last month, and that's how close the change is, since last month, I think that the way we're going to build product is completely going to be changing. All of last year, I built another tool. It was a SEO tool. The way I was building it was I would have a hypothesis and I would build some sort of a Figma prototype or like views, and I would take it around to people to get their thoughts. More often than not, I would end up having to build that thing out and then rip it out a couple of weeks later. In fact, I've gotten on calls, like user feedback calls with top product companies like Stripe, Canva, even. And that's the way generally product design works. But since the last month, I've changed how I do that because it's a complete waste of time. The people that you're getting feedback from, they kind of have to imagine what the product will look like when you give them a Figma prototype. So what I do now is I go to Replit. I have a problem that I think I want to create a solution for. I'll think about 4 or 5 different solutions, and I would fire up Replit, create 5 different small projects. And Replit is great because it can also deploy the code as well. So not don't only does it write the code for you, kind of like what ChatGPT does or Claude does, but it deploys it on a link. And then what I do is I got on a call with the customer and I show them 5 different working demos. So where they can actually type in the stuff that they want to like, use it. They would type in the stuff, press enter, and like see the thing actually working. What I've noticed is when you do that, people are like, oh yeah, number 3 is roughly where I want to go, but like number 1 gives me better results, right? Now you know for sure that you want to take number 3 and number 1 and sort of like combine them too, and you can scrap the rest of it. You've kind of explored the hypothesis space almost completely, right? Versus picking up like one demo or one prototype and trying to make sure that the user roughly understands that that's the direction that you're going in, and getting a binary answer, yes or no. This way, you give them options, they pick and choose, and now your dev work is so much easier. All you have to do is take number 3 and number 1, combine them, ship it out. So that's the approach that I've been taking, and it's been working really, really well.
Yeah, I love this. So, for the audience, obviously we'll put these in the show notes, and make sure to subscribe to the newsletter where we're going to give more detailed breakdowns of all the things we're going to talk about today. But replit.com, so Replit, and it's interesting. You're right. Like, you go in there, just like ChatGPT, there's a prompt, you type what you want to build, it starts building it, gives you the tools to deploy it, it can connect to a database, you can do all of that stuff. And this is amazing. So the thing that I want to emphasize, and it's just the thing that occurred to me, is that this is one of those examples where AI allows you to do things that you wouldn't have otherwise done, right? So I think everybody defaults to, well, I want to get customer feedback on this idea. First, I'm going to go create this design prototype. They're screenshots, right? They're not real. Maybe you make them a little bit interactive, but the customer, like when you show it to customers to give you feedback, it's very much, they have to imagine a bunch of things. You have to walk them through it. It's not quite the same thing. In an ideal world, we would have developers just like build that version of the product and build 5 versions of it, like you said, but nobody would ever do that. It would be too expensive. It would take too long. So that is the best way to do it, but nobody would ever do it because it would just take so many resources. And now all of a sudden that's completely possible, and you can do that. And it's just mind blowing. It's just going to lead to better products, faster customer feedback, like tighter loops. And the reason I'm saying this is because I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'm going to use AI and it's all about reducing the amount of work that I do, or it's all about making me save time. And those things are true, but also, if something is easier to do, you can do a lot more of it, and then deliver more value, and build things in a way that you never would have if AI wasn't accessible. So that's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I'm always curious about use cases with AI that one, there's two ways of using it. One is like enhancing what you're already doing, just making it faster. So if I'm taking action items after a call, putting into AI just makes it faster now. But I'm most interested in the other branch of using AI, which is like thing that it was impossible for me to do before. So I'm a software engineer and I can code all day, all night. I don't want to do that. I don't want to create 5 versions of this and like have to rip them out. It's a complete waste of my time and like it's not value at all. So if I can spend 5 minutes and put a prompt in and like get something that's close enough and then show it to a person and it being completely spaghetti code that I can't use afterwards, completely fine by me. So I'm not even going to stay in the camp of, hey, it's taking, software engineer jobs because it was something that was completely impossible before.
Yeah. So this is, and the thing that I want to emphasize is this really applies to everybody. If you're building product in your company, and it doesn't matter how big your engineering team is, like you're doing prototyping, this is a faster way to doing prototyping. And I've seen Replit. It's crazy. You can grab a screenshot of your software product, put it into Replit. It can kind of like duplicate that, and then you change it a little bit, and there you go. You have your prototype. It's so definitely something for everyone to consider. The other thing that I know you also were mentioning to me, the other thing that has changed is your ability to do things from a go-to-market perspective that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. Do you want to talk to some of those things as well?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm surprised that not a lot of people are looking at the go-to-market advantage for AI. So for context, by the way, Engyne used to be an SEO company. So last year, that's what I
Oh,
was
I didn't know
building.
that. Cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All of last year, we were selling to SaaS companies specifically, got to like 10K MRR. But I saw that that's not where the growth of the company is. So that's why I pivoted just last month to personal branding on LinkedIn. But one of the big advantages that AI has now is being able to build small tools. So small tools, for context, by the way, get the small free tools that a website can host, get the most attention and traffic. So free traffic from Google basically. If you can, but creating those tools is a lot of time and maintaining them is actually a lot of work as well. We used to have like 5 or 6 tools and something as simple as title tag checker. That would be an example of a tool that would get us 1,000, 2,000 people coming in every month without any work done. But creating a tool and maintaining that was a difficult thing to do. So we only had a little bit of them. So I think where Replit, again, lovable, can really help from the go-to-market standpoint is helping you create those small tools that you can host on your site that provide real value for a specific niche pain point for a customer, where somebody comes in, uses their tool for free, and then you upsell them or try, like get them to go to your main app, which is paid. So imagine, come up with 100 niche pain points, create 100 different tools, find the ones that work, host them on the site, and basically get 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 visitors a day, or sorry, a month. That's a great go-to-market advantage.
I mean, it's huge. It's interesting. I just think about the tools that I have built in my career. And when I say I, my companies and our teams. But, one we created for Fellow was meeting cost calculator, right? Fairly simple thing, but the problem is the marketing team can't create these things, right? So it's more we have to get engineering time, and well, the engineers are building the product, and so like it's very hard, generally speaking, to make these things happen, and so they take a long time. But now the marketing team can just do these things on their own.
Exactly.
Another one I remember from my last company was an online survey company, and so we created like a sample size calculator. You're sending a survey. How many people do you need? Like, basic tools. But all of these things previously required a developer to be involved, and now marketing teams can do them on their own. And it's just one of those examples that it's not like, is it saving time? It's kind of like redirecting effort, but it makes it so easy that now maybe you did one of these once a year, twice a year. Now you can do one once a month, or even more than that. It's really your imagination is the only limit there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it shifts the power or the energy, who's putting in the energy to make this stuff. Like you mentioned, typically it would be engineers, but from a ROI perspective, do you want an engineer to spend 40 hours building this tool that might not get any traffic afterwards? Probably not. You want them to work on the main tool. So I think this also brings up a shift in, I think the roles that are going to be more impactful in the next decade, which is software engineering has been the role that everybody wants to be. That's the highest paid one as well. But now we're talking about marketing being able to create these tools and bringing in like a lot of value. Sales, product designers, all these folks have the tools now where before they were bottlenecked by engineering. Now they don't need to be. If a marketer is like, I think a meeting cost calculator would give us great leads. Perfect. I don't need to go find time from the engineers. I can just do it myself, prove it out with like 10 different versions, see the one that works, and then make a business case in that company saying like, hey, I built this, we get this much, and 5% of people become customers. Let's now actually spend time on this and make this into a better thing. What a great pitch.
I mean, it's amazing. Honestly, like everybody listening, you should send this to your marketing team. Everybody should have a brainstorming session in the next week. What kind of tools could we build? Knowing that now marketing can do these things all on its own. It's pretty crazy. One topic we should talk about very quickly here is so now non-developers can build these tools. Of course, like, the more complex stuff, you're going to need developers for that. There's no question. But one of the things that's been questioned is, in your opinion, does, 5 years from now, will we have more software engineers or less software engineers?
I think less. I think less definitely, unless the folks that are going to be remaining are going to be specialized. So, hey, I am a software engineer that knows computer vision inside out. But anything that is like more bare bones of like, I'm trying to create a CRUD app, like something that has items listed and I can add an item, delete an item, something like that. I can just go right now in Replit and like say exactly the thing that I want, and it will create a basic version of me from there. So I think like the things that people used to pay $10,000-$20,000 for, and I've worked on these projects where, hey, we're building a tool rental marketplace, we're building an Airbnb clone, we're building like these kind of like basic apps, don't require engineers anymore. And engineers also don't want to work on these basic apps because what they're doing is there's nothing value add there. You're just copy pasting the same code, same database logic, but removing the asset, right? So instead of it being a house, now it's a tool, or it's a car. So I see those sort of kind of like jobs or early stage prototyping completely being removed from the devs capabilities, or like even having them do that. And marketing, sales, product design, all these roles are going to be taking on that work. And the work that goes to the engineers is, we've already tried these 10 things and we know this works. We've already tried this way of building it and this is what the customer wants. That kind of work has already been done. The developers only need to work on the things that have been proven. And so with that kind of I think the market share for development is moving away from developers and probably going to some of these roles, making them more effective, more productive. And honestly, developers want to work on high impact stuff anyways.
Yeah, nobody wants to, work on the things that are, because engineers want to be challenged, right? They want to solve the super difficult problems that, just is going to push them outside of their comfort zone. And yeah, building a meeting cost calculator is not the most exciting thing for a senior engineer. So yeah, very exciting to see how this stuff will take shape. So the other two things I was going to ask you about, and I think this is going to bring us into show and tell mode at the same time, is how has AI impacted the way you work? And I think you have two demos of these exact things as well. So what's the first one that you want to talk about and show?
Yeah. The first one is what I like to call Nexus. Basically, what I've noticed is I talk to a lot of people all the time, and there's people that want to help me, and I want to be able to help them as well. But I'm not able to recall somebody I met a year ago. So if AI could actually help me find people in my network that can help me solve a problem that I'm facing today, that would be a major, major unlock. So for context, I've met CPO of Etsy, somebody at Ohio State. So those people can actually help me like with fundraising, product design, all of that stuff. But I just can't recall when I am like fixing up a button that I should message them. So what I built out was a Google Sheet for myself, and it's very simple: names of the people and what they can help me with. And all the AI does is whenever I have a challenge, I just write down that I need somebody to help me with this, and it looks through my sheet and gives me the name of two people or two or three people that I can message right away. And it's been honestly a game changer for me. It's a real way for me to actionalize my own network and giving them a way to help me as well. I can't tell you how big of an impact it's had on my life and the work where I work.
And just for everyone here, I mean, you're a software developer. You clearly could have written code to build this, but did you do this with no code?
I built out the front end, yes, with Replit, and I just copy pasted over the code to my main repo.
Oh, amazing. So let's see it. What does it look like in action?
Yeah, let me show you right now. So it's got a few names right now. Let me share my window here. So if you see this, this is my Google Sheet. Like I was saying, I call it my Nexus. There's a name of the people that I know and how they can help me and roughly what they're doing right now, and then an email. So this is a sheet. I make this super simple because I don't want to build another front end to be able to enter in, like do data entry basically. This is super simple for me to come in after I do a call. I just come in and update the notes. And then on the main app, I have an internal sort of dashboard here. And if I reload, I can say, hey, today I need help with fundraising. And so what it's going to do is it's going to look through my sheet in real time and find me the one person that can help me with that. So this is that person. And then I go in and email that person or have a communication with them. Before, I, I wouldn't even know how to do this. If I was to sit down and think who can help me with fundraising, I could probably only recall two or three people that I've talked to in the last week. I can't recall anybody from a year ago. So I think this, yeah, it's really helped me unlock my own network.
Yeah. So this is super cool. And what I wanted to say is that in the past, like you might have had a need for a tool like this, right? And then you would think, well, how do I recall the people that I'm meeting? How do I get much more organized about this stuff with my network? And then maybe you went out and you would have to find another software product, right?
Yeah,
Something that has a monthly subscription, probably does like 100 different things, but really you're just looking for that 5% just to do exactly what you want. And this has been the state. And so now you don't have to go and subscribe to a software product. You could just like build exactly the thing that you need just for you. And, it does what you need. And if you ever needed it to do a little bit more, you can obviously like keep modifying it. And so this is the crazy thing about this is that you can now scratch your own itch.
exactly. And by the way, I've actually done that, which is I've tried out every single CRM app that's on the market. Atio, Clay CRM. I've done HubSpot as well. I've done like just basic Google Sheets myself. Notion, all these things get you like 50% there, 60% there, but there's so much other stuff that's around it, plus like the payment along with it. It just makes it a non-starter for you to like get started with this. And there's a very simple need that I have, which is just tell me who in my network can help me. I don't need a phone app. I don't need any of the bells and whistles. I just need this simple thing, and I can like make that and like it's useful for me. And if it's useful for somebody else, I can give this to them as well. But there, it doesn't warrant that I need to purchase a tool specifically for this. And I think that's a major unlock here.
Yeah. So it's almost like whenever you have a need now, the first question isn't, I wonder if there's a product that does this. It's, I wonder if I can build a product that does this. And that
Exactly.
is just like such a massive shift. It's crazy what's happening.
Yeah. And I think in that kind of a world, the biggest change is going to be is do you have a good product design or sales ability, or do you just have unique taste? And taste is like not talked about enough. And I think in this kind of a world where everybody can build anything, having good taste is what's going to be the differentiator.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So that was demo one.
Mhm.
And what is the other thing we were going to talk about today?
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to show you, let me fire up my Replit here. So here's a second. I'll talk through like exactly what this is, but it's a customer insight hub that I'm building for my own app. But basically, I do sales calls all the time, and I have a real hard time cutting down or creating a standard ICP persona. Um, Again, because everything is in my head, the only ICP attributes that I can remember is from the people that I talked to in the last week. So what I wanted to have was an app where I could throw in all the transcripts of good ICP and then a bad ICP, and then have it sort of tell me and basically be able to chat with my transcripts um, as I'm building out the product. So this is again an exploration of like what that could look like. And I started out with, see if I can reload here. Let me show you the prompt that I started off with. Build a voice of customer app that uses Figma for the database, where you add in customer call transcripts and you can ask questions to get answers. And I wanted to make it a Next.js app. I want to be able to ask questions about the transcripts and then be able to craft messaging positioning based on what I learned from the transcripts. That was my prompt. And it was able to create me a very simple app where I could copy paste in my transcript and just ask it questions. And along the way, it actually asked me for my OpenAI key because it wanted to chat with OpenAI, and it built out the code with it. So it's asking me for the OpenAI key as well, and I was able to get it up and running. I want to say in like a couple of minutes. Yeah. So here it's fired up. I'll show you what that looks like. Let me take it to a full screen here. So okay, so I want to like customer call. And this is the customer call. So maybe I'll say something like, I love the fact that answer, you can ask questions. I don't know if it will work here right now, but we'll give it a shot. So this is good because it's such a working app. So when I put in the transcript and it just shows up here and I can delete it as well, fantastic. And then I can jump in and here's where I can ask a question. I wonder if it's actually going to answer here now. But so the idea is oh, it didn't answer the question, but like this is so I can go back now and say when I ask a question, it does not respond, fix it. And then the great thing with Replit is it writes the code in real time. So it's gonna say it's thinking, and then it will show you the changes that it's doing. And basically, I can just keep talking to it, trying to make it better. And then once I'm good, I can then start using this app on my own because this is hosted, this is deployed already.
Yeah, again, this is super cool. It just goes back down to and it's amazing to see, Replit in action here. Again, it feels like you're talking to a human. It feels like you're saying to someone over Slack, "Hey, the thing you just built, it has this bug. Can you fix it?" And then it will go and do that. And yeah, it's amazing to see what's possible and what kind of things you can build. So every team should be trying this. Honestly, like hackathons used to just be for developers, and I feel like that's completely changed now too. That you can have the whole team participate, build your own internal tools, and this is super incredible to see. So the other thing that I would love to have you show us is what you're doing with Engyne itself. Like this is obviously an AI based product. I think it's super useful. Everybody here has LinkedIn, so how can you use Engyne to help you on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So the first product that we're building is actually a Canva app. So that Canva app can take your blog post or a prompt for what you want to create a carousel for, and it will actually not only create the carousel, so we'll come up with the copy and the design as well in real time. And I can show kind of how that works. By the way, a tip is that carousels get 3 times more engagement on LinkedIn than like a static text post. So if you want to grow on LinkedIn, this is the best way to do so. So here's what it looks like. This is Carousel Studio, and I'm going to use it in my own design. So this is what it looks like. And I can come in and sort of say what I want to create the carousel about. So I can do, yeah, techniques to manifest your goals. And and come in and choose a color scheme. I would actually like this one. And so here, once you click generate, it'll actually it will go out and do some research on the topic that you provided here. And so it's going to come in and like start designing it right in front of you. So here it is. And it comes up with the image on the side as well. And then, so it puts it in 3.
This is super cool. So this is it looks like this is a Canva app, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this runs fully inside Canva. David Canva has an apps SDK that creates this. So yeah, so now all you have to do is fix up the fonts a little bit, and then you can export it out and post it to your LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, this is super cool. It's, what's interesting about this is, and of course, like you can give it as much content as you want, right? So, it's cool to see that if you don't give it a lot of content, it can go do research on your behalf and create like this first draft. Or if you give it a bunch of content, then it can give you more. One of the things that I like doing, I don't know, Suk, if you do this as well, is I might just like create a 10-minute voice memo, or some people will just talk to ChatGPT voice mode for a while, and then grab all of that and then paste it in. Like I think if you paste in something like that into the carousel, it probably starts you off with a lot more context and can accelerate like you getting to the final product too, right?
Absolutely. I think like the more context that you can give it, and I've been using another app. I forget the name of it, but it's like the Mac transcription app as well, and it's much better transcription than the typical Mac app that you have. I do the same thing. So I'll like talk about a specific topic for 5 or 6 minutes, and then drop in the transcription here. I actually do the same thing and put it into Claude and ChatGPT as well, because I've seen the more context that you can give it, the better it is, and like more in tune to what you want it to do. When you start typing, you just get like typing fatigue because you're like, oh, I'll just like put in one sentence and see what it comes up with. And most of the times, it just doesn't know what you want. So the more context you can give it, the better. So here you can actually put in a prompt as long as you want to, or if you have something written before, like a blog post, you can drop that in here as well.
Oh, I love that. Like, there's no reason why every blog post shouldn't have a carousel that goes along with it. I mean, this is super cool. Everybody's looking for, how can I promote the content? Okay, we did all of this work, we created this content. How do we promote it? And so I love that this tool allows you to do that. So how do people get access to it?
Yeah, so it's very simple. You go to, it's 100% free app, by the way. So you're not paying for anything, and there's no branding or anything that comes with it as well, like no watermark. So all you do is go to Canva Marketplace, app Marketplace, and you look for Carousel Studio. That's it. And then you can go ahead and use it in design. That will open up the actual canvas, and then you can do what I just did before. Here.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Super easy to use. So, yeah, Suki, you've shown us like three awesome tools. And one thing that, and for everybody, if you're not subscribed to the newsletter yet, thisnewway.com, sign up. We're going to obviously put all the links, but then just a breakdown of some of the stuff that we worked with Suk on today. And then the main thing, and what I think the newsletter is really useful for is, okay, you've seen some stuff, you're a leader in your company, but how do you get everybody else to do those things so that you don't have to explain it? This newsletter is great for forwarding, and so it'll include our clips, send those. The intent here is like, we want to make your company a lot more productive, to do things in this new way, and very excited for everybody to try out some of the things Suk has shown us today. One thing that maybe is a good place for us to go towards is, in your opinion, like if you were kind of fast forward a year from now, where do you think Engyne is going to be? Like, how do you imagine it can develop? Like, what would be like the next things that you would imagine that it could do?
Yeah. So my mission, like I mentioned before, it's like to automate marketing. But a lot of other companies are going in the wrong direction. They want to invent opinions for you. And so if you've done marketing, you know that customers don't like AI opinions. So like if I say the 5 ways of growing on Instagram is 1, 2, 3, and the next person to me says the 5 ways of growing on Instagram is 1, 2, 3, nobody is getting any leads, any sales, anything. And so marketing specifically is having an opinion. And so what I want Engyne to be is a place where we can create content from your unique opinion. So the first thing that we're starting off with is building out this tool where it asks you questions like an AI interviewer. It asks you questions Monday morning, let's say, and you record 5 different opinions about XYZ, things about your company, maybe what you did last week, what you learned last year, and then create a corpus of marketing opinion, and not just you, the rest of your company as well. And then you can now repurpose that thing, just like we did with Carousel Studio, into carousels, into email marketing, into landing pages, into running your ads. They are effective because they're all backed by your personal opinion. And I think this is the insight that I have, which is as people start creating AI content, the bar does move up, but everybody's is at that mediocre bar. So people are using like like rocket emojis everywhere. You'll see them M dashes everywhere. People using the word like traditionally over and over again. That's mediocre content. So if you can show even an ounce of authenticity in your marketing language, you'll shine through like a bright light. And that's the mission that I want to hit. That's what I want Engyne to go. And so this AI interviewer is like one step to that, but we'll be building out more tools around this.
Yeah, you know what I love about it? It just goes back to the beginning of our conversation where if something becomes more accessible, a lot more of it starts to happen and the demand for that goes up. So the example here is that for the people that are, people who are posting a lot on LinkedIn, I mean, this is effectively what they do, right? They sit with their marketing team will interview them, and then they'll create a bunch of drafts. That person approves those things, and then it gets posted. Or another example, for example, is they go on a podcast, they write a blog post, and then the marketing team tries to turn that into LinkedIn content. But, obviously this requires a bunch of resources. You have to have a team that'll do these things for you, and you have to be behind your desk and do these sorts of things. But once you build AI interviewer, then you could be on a walk, you could be in your car, you could be talking to this AI, and then it's going to produce all this content for you. And it will be authentic because they're basically the things that you think. It's an exciting world we're going to live in and live in
Absolutely.
today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just like everybody has something to share. You've done work for the last 20, 30 years on a specific topic. And if you could just show that to other people, you would get a lot more opportunities, partnerships, and customers. And that's the bottleneck of like, I don't know how to do that. Do I need a big team? Do I need somebody? Do I need to actually have like thought leadership level thoughts? Not really. All you have to do is just like post or like talk about it. And so like with these tools, I think like that bar is getting lower and lower. Whether that's like I have a lot of good product ideas, I probably need to spend 20K to like get this into reality. Nope, not really. Or that I have a lot of good thoughts. I probably just need to like hire a marketing person to do this for me. Not anymore. So like those are like great use cases of the second type of AI use case that I was talking about, which is things that just weren't possible before. Having them accessible to you, that's going to be the major unlock. And anybody that can master that part of it, I think is going to come out ahead.
I love it. So, some of the places that we get great guests for future episodes is, people who come on the show typically know other great AI creators. Is there anyone who's doing cool stuff in AI that you would love to see come on the show as well?
Yeah, there's two founders that I know. They're in YC now, Josh and Leo from Outlet. They've been fantastic. I also know Hyde, who we know from Invest Ottawa. So he's a great person as well.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So we'll make sure to reach out to those folks as well. And so in terms of final words, what are you most excited about looking into the future?
I am most excited about everybody being a mini media machine. I think that's going to be so. What's going to happen, I think, is we've gone from like this hierarchical society where everybody needs a manager on top of a manager. And I think what we're going to do is create more of a company of one. I'm going to be a tax person. I have a tax business. You're going to be a dentist. So everybody's going to have their own side hustle, becoming a main hustle because of these tools. You're not going to need a big office, 10 employees. You can just do it on your own. That trend is like something I'm very excited for, because even things like finding a good accountant, finding a good dentist is hard because it's very difficult to get to that kind of state or run a business like that. So I'm excited for that kind of a future. And on top of that, if everybody's a business, everybody's going to have some sort of a personal brand, some way of saying that I'm different from everybody else. So we're going to see everybody becoming sort of a mini influencer or like a mini media machine.
And I'm excited for that too. Sukh, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Of course. Happy out.
And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of This New Way. If you like the content, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe so you can get notified when we post the next episode. See you next time.